Welcome back to another episode of Humans Are Whack. First of all, thank you to everyone who's been watching, commenting, and sharing your thoughts on the previous episodes. The Humans Are Whack family just keeps expanding across countries, time zones, and continents. It's wild to think that people from all over the world are tuning in to explore just how strange, unpredictable, and downright hilarious humanity can be. If you're new here, welcome. This is the channel where we dive deep into the bizarre, the unbelievable, and sometimes the embarrassingly dumb things humans have believed, done, or created. Before we start, tell us where you're watching from and what time it is in your country right now. We love seeing how far this madness travels across the globe. Now, on our first story for today is the myth that we only use 10% of our brains. It's one of the most famous lies in human history, repeated by teachers, motivational speakers, and even Hollywood movies. You only use 10% of your brain, they said. Imagine what you could do if you unlocked the other 90%. Sounds inspiring, right? Except it's total nonsense. Neuroscientists have proven, time and time again, that humans use virtually every part of their brain, even while doing simple things like talking, walking, or daydreaming. Brain scans show constant activity throughout, meaning there's no magical and used 90% waiting to be unlocked. So where did this myth come from? Some say it was a misquote from an early psychologist in the 1800s who suggested humans rarely reach their full potential. Others believe it was exaggerated by self-help gurus trying to sell books or motivational programs. Either way, the world ran with it because it sounded cool. It gave people hope that inside them was a hidden genius just waiting to be discovered. Movies like Lucy and Limitless even built entire plots around it, turning a total myth into modern folklore. But here's the real twist. Even though it's false, this lie inspired millions to learn, create, and challenge their limits. So maybe, just maybe, that 10% myth was the smartest dumb idea ever believed. Because if believing in it made us push harder, maybe it wasn't a waste after all. On our second story for today, the myth that shaving makes your hair grow back thicker. It's something almost everyone has heard at least once. Don't shave. It'll make your hair grow back thicker. Parents said it. Friends swore by it. And millions believed it. But here's the truth. It's completely false. When you shave, the razor cuts the hair right at the surface of your skin, giving the hair a blunt edge. So when it grows back, it feels coarser or thicker, but it's not. It's the same hair, the same thickness, the same density. It just looks different because of that flat, sharp tip. Dermatologists have been debunking this for decades, yet somehow, the myth refuses to die. Why? Because we want to believe what we can see. And when you see that dark stubble reappear faster than before, it's easy to assume shaving made it thicker. In reality, the hair didn't change, our perception did. The texture feels rougher, the color appears darker, and the illusion becomes believable. But here's the funny part. This myth actually changed behavior on a massive scale. Generations of people avoided shaving their arms, legs, or faces because of it. Some even spent fortunes on natural remedies, oils, and magic solutions to thin their hair. All thanks to a lie that started, most likely, from old barbershop tales and household gossip. It's one of those myths that shows how easily we accept what sounds true instead of what is true. And maybe that's the lesson here. Sometimes the things we fear are only sharp at the surface, like a freshly shaved hair. On our third story for today, the belief that goldfish only have a 3-second memory. For decades, people laughed at goldfish, calling them the dumbest pets in the animal kingdom. We were told they swim in circles, forget everything, and rediscover their bowl every few seconds like it's brand new. 3-second memory, they said. That's all they've got. But science had something to say about that. And it turns out, humans were the forgetful ones. Researchers from the University of Plymouth ran multiple experiments, teaching goldfish to associate certain sounds with feeding times, or to navigate small mazes for rewards. The result? These tiny, orange swimmers remembered routines and patterns for months. Not seconds, months. Some could even recognize their owners' faces and respond to light or color cues. In fact, goldfish have such good spatial memory that they can recall feeding areas and avoid obstacles, proving their little brains are far from simple. So where did the 3-second myth come from? Most likely from human projection. We look at an animal moving endlessly in a small bowl and assume it must be lost or confused. But really, the goldfish just doesn't have anywhere else to go. The real tragedy? Many people treated goldfish as disposable because of that myth, thinking they couldn't feel or remember. All because someone once decided that tiny size meant tiny intelligence. But maybe the joke's on us. Because while humans forget where they put their keys every morning, that goldfish probably still remembers where its last meal came from. So the next time you look at a goldfish, remember, it's not dumb. It's just silently judging the species that thought it was. On our fourth story for today, the myth that humans swallow 8 spiders a year in their sleep. Ah yes, the internet classic. You've probably heard it at least once, whispered in sleepover horror stories or posted as some fun fact online. Did you know the average person swallows 8 spiders every year in their sleep? It's one of those statements that instantly makes your skin crawl. You imagine it. You, fast asleep, and somewhere in the dark corner of your room, a little 8-legged creature quietly crawling its way toward your mouth. Creepy, right? But completely false. Here's the truth. There's no scientific evidence that anyone, not even once, has swallowed a spider while sleeping. The myth began sometime in the 1990s as part of an experiment to show how easily misinformation spreads online. A journalist named Lisa Holst reportedly included it in an article to prove how people believe anything when it sounds shocking enough. And it worked. The fake fact escaped its article, got copied, reposted, and before long, it became one of the most viral lies in internet history. Think about it. The average human doesn't sleep with their mouth wide open, snoring like a cave. And spiders? They're not suicidal. They're actually terrified of us. The vibrations of our breathing, heartbeat, and movement send them scurrying away, not crawling closer. Still, people believed it. And here's why. Fear has power. When something sounds gross or terrifying, our brains remember it better. It sticks. Because in some ancient part of our instincts, we're wired to remember threats, even fake ones. It's kind of poetic in a weird way. A lie about fear went viral because fear itself spreads faster than facts. So the next time someone says, "You swallow spiders in your sleep," you can smile and say, "No, I don't. But thanks for reminding me how easily humans swallow lies instead." Because maybe the real scary part of this myth isn't the spider. It's how eager we are to believe something just because it gives us chills. On our fifth story for today, the claim that the Great Wall of China is visible from space. It's one of those facts we all learned in school, printed in textbooks, and proudly repeated to friends like it was gospel. The Great Wall of China, they said, is the only man-made structure visible from space. It sounded majestic, poetic even. A 13,000-mile ribbon of stone stretching across mountains and deserts, so massive, so grand, it could be seen by astronauts orbiting the Earth. Except it's not true. When astronauts actually went up there, they saw oceans, clouds, cities, even highways, but not the Great Wall. From orbit, the wall blends almost perfectly with the natural landscape, its color and texture matching the Earth and rock around it. It's just too narrow and subtle to spot without aid. Even NASA officially debunked it. In fact, astronaut Yang Liwei, the first Chinese person in space, admitted he couldn't see the wall at all. Later, U.S. astronaut Chris Hadfield confirmed the same thing, saying, "The Great Wall is almost invisible from orbit. You can see the pyramids, airports, and roads, but not that ancient line of stone." So how did this myth start? Historians trace it back to the 1930s, when a travel writer speculated that the wall might be visible from the moon, not space, the moon. People loved the idea so much that it stuck, passed from teachers to students, books to documentaries, until it became fact. The irony? The myth was meant to celebrate human achievement, but it ended up showing how easily we confuse imagination with truth. Here's the reality. The Great Wall is an incredible feat of human engineering. It just doesn't need to be visible from space to prove that. It's a testament to human ambition, endurance, and unity, not optical illusion. So maybe the lie lasted so long because it captured something beautiful, the human desire to believe that what we build can be seen among the stars. Even if it's not true, it reminds us of how deeply we want our mark on Earth to mean something. On our sixth story for today, the myth that you can see the Great Pyramids from the moon. This one feels like a sibling to the Great Wall story, a myth born out of awe, wonder, and a little too much exaggeration. For centuries, the Great Pyramids of Giza have stood as one of humanity's greatest achievements, built thousands of years ago with primitive tools and unimaginable precision. So naturally, people wanted to believe they were so massive they could be seen all the way from the moon. It's a beautiful idea, but completely false. No human-made object, not even the pyramids, is visible from the moon with the naked eye. The distance between Earth and the moon is roughly 384,000 kilometers, and from that far away, even entire cities disappear into a blur of color and light. The myth likely began in the 1800s, when newspapers often exaggerated scientific discoveries. Later, during the space race, it resurfaced as people tried to imagine what astronauts would see when they looked back at Earth. Surely, they thought, something that grand must be visible from up there. But when astronauts finally went, they saw no pyramids, no walls, no buildings. Just the shimmering blue planet, covered in clouds and continents, breathtaking in its simplicity. Here's the twist, though. While you can't see the pyramids from the moon, you actually can spot them from low Earth orbit, if you know exactly where to look and have a powerful camera. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station have captured them using high-zoom lenses, 3 perfect triangles glinting under the Egyptian sun. So in a way, the myth isn't completely wrong, just stretched beyond reality, as humans often do. And maybe that's what makes it so poetic. Because the story was never really about what you can see from the moon. It was about what humans dream of building. Something so extraordinary, it could reach beyond our world and touch the heavens. It's not science. It's imagination. And imagination has always been the one thing humans can help but exaggerate. On our 7th story for today, the idea that vaccines cause autism. This one isn't just a myth. It's a dangerous lie that's cost lives. It all began in 1998, when a British doctor named Andrew Wakefield published a paper claiming a link between the MMR vaccine, that's measles, mumps, and rubella, and autism in children. The media went wild. Parents panicked. Vaccination rates plummeted. But here's what most people didn't know. Wakefield's study was not only flawed, it was fraudulent. The paper involved just 12 children. The data was manipulated, and later investigations revealed he was secretly being paid by lawyers who wanted to sue vaccine manufacturers. In other words, it wasn't science. It was a scam. The study was fully retracted. Wakefield lost his medical license, and dozens of large-scale studies since then, involving millions of people, have proven over and over again that vaccines do not cause autism. Yet, the myth lived on. Even today, decades later, millions still believe it. And the consequences have been devastating. Preventable diseases like measles and whooping cough have made comebacks in communities where fear outweighed facts. It's one of the most dangerous examples of how misinformation spreads faster than truth, especially when it plays on emotion. Because fear, especially fear for our children, is powerful. But here's what's even more revealing. This myth didn't just expose a medical misunderstanding. It exposed something deeper about human nature. We don't always believe what's true. We believe what feels true. And when a lie speaks to our fears, it becomes louder than science. The irony? Vaccines have saved more lives than almost any medical innovation in history. Yet one man's greed turned one of humanity's greatest achievements into a weapon of distrust. So the next time someone says, "I don't trust vaccines," remember this story and how one false claim, backed by no evidence, managed to shake the world. Because sometimes the dumbest lies aren't the ones we laugh at, they re the ones that make us afraid. On our 8th story for today, the old myth that bulls hate the color red. Now, this one's been around for centuries, and it's one of those lies that is so entertaining, people never really wanted to question it. You've seen it 1,000 times, in cartoons, movies, and bullfighting arenas. A matador waves a bright red cape, the bull charges furiously, and the audience goes wild. So naturally, everyone assumes bulls must hate the color red. But here's the hilarious truth. Bulls are colorblind to red. They can't even see it the way humans do. In fact, bulls don't respond to color at all. They respond to movement. It's not the color of the cape that angers them. It's the motion of it waving back and forth, taunting them. So technically, the bull isn't thinking, "How dare you wear red in front of me?" It's thinking, "Why is that annoying human shaking fabric in my face?" Scientists have tested this too. In one experiment, researchers placed several flags in a ring, red, blue, white, green, and released a bull. Guess what? The bull charged every flag equally, no matter the color. So the whole red makes bulls angry thing? Total nonsense. The red cape, called a maleta, is used in bullfighting simply because it hides bloodstains and looks dramatic to the audience. And that's the perfect symbol for how humans often create myths. We care more about what looks exciting than what's actually true. Think about it. This myth survived for generations because it fits a good story. Humans love neat, emotional explanations. Red equals anger. It's simple, visual, and easy to repeat, so we keep repeating it. Even though the real explanation is boring, bulls don't care about color at all. So the next time you see a cartoon bull fuming at something red, remember, that's not rage you're seeing. It's just one more example of how humans, once again, turned a misunderstanding into a myth that's too good to let go. On our 9th story for today, the fake story that humans and dinosaurs lived together. Now, this is one of those myths that sounds straight out of a Hollywood movie because, well, that's pretty much where it came from. For decades, people have imagined cavemen running from T-Rexes, riding dinosaurs like horses, or cooking dino meat over a fire. It's fun to picture, but scientifically, it's pure fiction. Dinosaurs went extinct about 65 million years ago, wiped out by a massive asteroid impact and the chain reaction it caused, fires, climate change, and the collapse of entire ecosystems. Meanwhile, the first modern humans didn't appear until roughly 300,000 years ago. That means there's a 65 million year gap between us and dinosaurs. If Earth's history was a 24-hour day, dinosaurs disappeared around 10:30 p.m., and humans didn't show up until a few seconds before midnight. That's how far apart we are. But still, people kept insisting they lived side by side. Why? Because of bad science, wild interpretations, and pop culture. In the early 20th century, a few hoaxes started circulating. Fake dinosaur footprints next to human footprints. Some were carved deliberately. Others were just eroded rock formations that people misread. And when creationist groups began promoting these as proof that the Bible's timeline was literal, the myth exploded again. Then came cartoons like the Flintstones, movies like Jurassic Park, and toy companies cashing in on the idea of cavemen and dinos chilling together. It was catchy, colorful, and easy to sell. And here's where humans get really whack. Even after mountains of scientific evidence, fossils, carbon dating, DNA records, some people still choose the myth over the science. Because believing that humans rode dinosaurs feels epic. It gives us this illusion that we were always part of some prehistoric adventure. But the truth? If humans and dinosaurs ever actually met, we'd be extinct in 5 minutes. So next time you see someone imagining a caveman feeding a triceratops or running from a raptor, just smile and remember, it's not history. It's humanity's favorite fantasy, proof that sometimes we'd rather rewrite the past than face the facts. On our 10th story for today, the belief that lightning never strikes the same place twice. Now this one is one of the most famous myths ever, something we've all probably heard at least once in our lives. Don't worry, lightning never strikes the same place twice. Sounds comforting, right? Unfortunately, it's completely false. Lightning doesn't care about fairness, luck, or giving you a break. It's pure physics, and it'll strike the same spot as many times as the conditions allow. In fact, some places on Earth get hit dozens or even hundreds of times a year. The Empire State Building in New York City, it gets struck by lightning around 20 to 25 times every single year. That's practically an annual tradition. Why? Because lightning is just looking for the easiest path to the ground. Tall, metal, isolated structures are like magnets to it. So if the same conditions exist, same height, same material, same storm pattern, the same spot becomes a repeat target again and again. Scientists have even studied certain trees that have been struck so many times, they have burn layers, like scars, stacked inside their trunks. Each mark a reminder that nature doesn't play favorites. But humans, of course, took this myth and ran with it. We turned it into a phrase about luck and chance, saying things like, lightning never strikes twice, you'll be fine. It became a way to calm ourselves after something bad happened, like saying, that was rare, it can't happen again. And while that might make emotional sense, the scientific truth is far less comforting. Lightning can, and often does, strike twice or even 10 times. In fact, some single lightning bolts can branch out and hit multiple spots at once, miles apart. But here's the most whack part. Even with all this knowledge, there are still people who will stand under trees during storms, take selfies with lightning in the background, or even chase storms for content, just to say they tempted fate. It's like we know it's dangerous, and we do it anyway. Because humans don't just defy nature. Sometimes, we dare it to prove us wrong. High voltage. Before we wrap up this episode, here's what I want to know. Which of these myths blew your mind the most? Or made you laugh at how confidently wrong humanity can be? Drop it in the comments below, and also tell us where you're watching from and what time it is right now in your country. And hey, if you're new here, welcome to the Humans Are Whack family. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with friends and family who still think goldfish forget everything in 3 seconds. Because here, we uncover the truth, one ridiculous human belief at a time.